Hello and welcome to your go-to Detroit Pistons podcast, The Pistons Pulse, co-hosted by me, Bryce Simon of Motor City Hoops.
And Omari Sanko for the second, Pistons beat writer for the Detroit Free Press.
And of course, we're always blessed to be joined by our producer, Wes Davenport. Make sure you are listening to Wes and Blake Silverman over on the Pin Down on the Detroit Bad Boys YouTube channel. Hopefully, Wes is telling some new dad stories over there with little Winona, being the newest member of the Pistons Pulse and the Detroit Bad Boys, the Pin Down community. Obviously, read all of O2's work over on the Detroit Free Press and check out the Motor City Hoops Substack, which is completely free. But today, we are joined. Here's what's sad, Andrew. I didn't even look up all of your stuff because I just want to say we're joined by my friend Andrew Schlecht of The Athletic, the Down the Dunk podcast, Saturday Slam and Jam, all of it. But most importantly, just a great dude. And so that's how I want to bring you in, Andrew, is just like my friend Andrew Schlecht.
Yeah, that's the most important title I have is just Bryce's friend. So just leave it at that. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's my quick side note. My sister used to get mad because, you're Bryce's sister. She was older than me. She was 6 years older than me. So the first time it was, you're Amy's brother. She had a party, right? Now, because now she's the big deal and I'm just me. So,
I love it.
Yeah. MC313 says, what up, though? Cheryl is here with us as always. Thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon. Cheryl, I just want you to know, I think I woke your son up at 10 o'clock today with the phone call, and I felt very, very bad about that. So, I'm sorry for starting your day off that way.
It was cool. I needed to get up. As Andrew knows, I saw you at OKC the other day.
Yeah, that's great.
A 9:30 p.m. Eastern time game, and then they were right back last night at 8 p.m. So I had a 5 a.m. I had a 5:15 a.m. flight, flew over in Atlanta, got back around 11:30 after a 9:30 game. So you right after, and I don't even think we got to the locker room till close to 11:30.
I was gonna say 9:30 overtime game, not just any game.
Overtime at that.
Yeah,
and obviously, that was a great game. So we'll talk about it, but. I was pretty tired this morning, so but 10 a.m. is like I'm up, I'm good. If you had caught me at 7 a.m., probably wouldn't have answered. I probably would have been like, I hope you're good. I hope this isn't anything, super serious because I wouldn't have been awake.
Okay. So yeah, that's what Blog Pistons ask him. Amari, are you okay after the fast travel? Yeah. Richard said Andrew is doing his trivia victory lap. I mean, all Andrew does is win trivia. And these two don't know about it, but we may have some trivia later on in the episode. So
yeah, let's go.
Okay. Before we get into the episode, something that's a little more of a serious topic is something we do want to talk about. Obviously, Jaden Ivey, drafted by the Detroit Pistons, traded to the Chicago Bulls, was waived by the Chicago Bulls. I think most people kind of understand what has kind of gone on with Jaden Ivey since that time, and some reports of even leading up to that. We figured most people would ask us for our thoughts on that. I don't know if Andrew has talked about this, if they talked about it over on the Athletic NBA pod. I have talked about it with Sam over on Game Theory, but O2, we did feel like, we talked about it earlier today, we felt like this was something we at least needed to talk about a little bit. I'll let you give your thoughts first. I'll give mine, and then I asked Andrew if he had some thoughts as well. So we will all give our thoughts on that. Obviously, a very serious topic right now, and then we will get into the Pistons and the Thunder and all of those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to ignore it. It's been front page on TMZ and elsewhere. A lot of reporting out of Chicago. Obviously, Jaden Ivey got waived, and he's expressed a lot of opinions on social media this week, mostly regarding religion, but also going after certain players like Steph Curry and LeBron, and denouncing Catholicism and this and that. I really don't want to get too deep into a religious discussion. I see on Twitter just the arguing back and forth. I don't think it's that productive. Really, I just wanted to say we don't want to, or at least me personally, as the beat writer, would not like to pour fire on it. I think, when J.I. said some of the stuff he said publicly about his family and this and that, it just seems like he's dealing with a lot. And, just out of respect for him, out of respect for his family, obviously just hope everything with him is okay. Also just wanted to I think even with everything that's been going on, there's been some message about him being persecuted. And, J.I. was open about his religion with the Pistons 2 years ago. He ended the press conference and, he essentially talked about, the rapture and you need to get right with God and this and that. And he didn't get cut after that. Like that's not what happened. I think a lot of it is that he's also expressed, thoughts about basketball and, in relation to, Judgment Day and this and that. And it's how committed is he to basketball in relation to everything else in his journey? I think for most professional franchises, to go for it with a guy, I think you have to, be pretty firm in that commitment. And, I think with everything J.I. is navigating, just hope obviously he navigates that properly. Whatever's going on with his family or, whatever that may be, he's said a lot publicly. Just want the best for him. But I know some people were curious just about, he expressed his religion now he gets cut. He's been pretty transparent about the importance of God and Jesus in his life for a while. I think just certain aspects of that escalated this week, and it becomes a different discussion at that point. But some of this stuff is not new. I think we saw 2 years ago that he began to become a lot more public about it.
Yeah, my quick 2 takeaways that I said on game theory, and I think I struggle to say too much because I think there's probably more to. I don't know where this is going to continue to go with J.I. But obviously I am somebody in this life, in my personal life and my professional life away from this, that does just like obviously support inclusion of people of all walks of life, regardless of whatever religion they have or whatever choice. Like I don't care about people's choices. I mean, some choices obviously, but being inclusive is something that I do think is very important, especially in the world we live in right now. And so like it was hard to hear somebody be exclusive with some of those statements with J.I. And then I'm not trying to excuse anything he said, but I do then find myself just going, man, I hope he's okay. Like that, ultimately that's where I eventually got to was I hope he's okay. It seemed, again, I don't want to speculate on anything. That was the other part of it is I hope he's okay. A couple comments here. MC313, hopefully he's okay. Many sides to this, mental health, respect differing views of life. It's a lot. That's absolutely right. There's so many sides. Just out of kindness, hope he pulls out from this dive. FlyMonk321 says, is anyone from the Pistons organization checking in on J.I.? That was one thing I wondered is just like, I hope people from the organizations professionally in his life are, there for him. So those were my 2 things, at least right now, without getting into much larger conversations. Andrew, I know you said you had a little bit as well, so I'll give you the floor here a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a complex issue. And I would just like caution anybody that feels like they want to give like really strong opinions on this. Like, you probably don't know every single thing about what's going on here. And I certainly don't either. And so like giving really strong takes about what he did or what's happened to him. Like, I don't think we have a real clear picture of what the entire story is here. We also have to know like there are basketball components to this. Like he is up for, he'll be a restricted free agent this summer, or would have been a restricted free agent this summer. It didn't seem like after what Chicago learned about him that they were ready and willing to give him another contract. And so there's like a piece to the puzzle there as well. Like he even said like he's been rehabbing. Like there's not that much left in the season. And then, so I would just like caution people who are like talking really strongly either in support of him or against him, because there's a lot on both sides. Like just like sometimes we just have to like set things down because we don't have enough information. But like some people will just grab like a little nugget here or there and then like have a really, really strong take on it. And it's like, man, like this is obviously something that goes pretty deep. And so trying to claim that, or like that injustice has happened or this or that, it's like, I don't know that there are that many people that actually know if that's the case. So like, I think like this is one thing that I think it's a sensitive subject that unless you have a lot of detail on it, I would just like say, like, just set it down. And if you really want to dive into it as like more reporting comes around, like, sure. But like right now, I don't feel like there's enough information out there for people to have like these really strong opinions for or against, JI or the Bulls or the Pistons at this point. So it's sad, but I'm kind of with you guys. Like, I hope he can get right. We'd love to see him return to basketball and for him to get healthy again at some point, but it's just kind of sad to see it all play out as publicly as it has.
Yeah. O2, any final thoughts before we go ahead? And
just the public aspect of it. I think when you go on Instagram Live and you air out all this stuff, not just about your beliefs, but personal matters about your family as well. The world. I think it was shed light on something that had been playing out, from different extents into the background, and then there's been some reporting that came out of Chicago that added to it, this and that. I think we all kind of agree. At the end of the day, this is a personal matter that's playing out extremely publicly, and there is newsworthiness to it. But I think you also just have to understand where the line is and understand that you don't necessarily need to try to decode or crack or diagnose more than necessary, and just hope that everything is okay. And ideally, can resolve in a more private manner that it's played out this week. So that's I really have to add to it.
Okay. Listen, I'm not the best at transitions. I don't know how there's a smooth transition from serious topic to let's talk about stuff on the court. So we're just going to do it. Okay. We're just going to pull the Band-Aid off and go. So Thelbert Arnold, I hope I said that correctly, as a former Detroit resident who lives in Oklahoma City now, I'm hoping for a Pistons Thunder championship. I think that would make all of us very excited. That'd be a lot of fun. I just wanted to use that to springboard into Andrew. These teams recently played. You and Omari watched it in person. I want to get your thoughts on a Cadeless Pistons team. Well, it was more than Cadeless. It was a whole bunch of less Pistons team. And just what was your takeaway from that game? Maybe kind of big picture. If you have some individual players, maybe, but was there a culture thing that stood out to you? A defense, offense, anything that stood out from you from a Pistons perspective in that game?
Yeah, if I'm a Pistons fan, I feel really, really encouraged by what we've seen since Cade went down. They have a certain toughness about them that kind of transcends the whole roster. And like, certainly there's problems when they have their entire roster that exists, there. And there's problems that they have whenever they're sitting a bunch of guys. But I would say that just the fact that they hung with the Thunder was pretty impressive. And it was like due to toughness and like dragging the Thunder into the mud, which was awesome to see. And as we kind of gotten further and further into the season, there was a point where I think more people were like, I think the Pistons can make the finals. I think they could really do it. And it feels like the further we've gotten into the season, people are like, well, they've been like poking holes in the Pistons a lot more. And I would say, like, be careful if you're doing that, because they have a certain toughness that a team like Cleveland, I don't think has it. I don't know that the Knicks have that kind of toughness either. Perhaps the Celtics do, but that might be it. And so I was really impressed with that. I think that they have some guys that'll kind of be deep on their bench when they get their full complement of players back that can actually help them come playoff time, which is something that I don't think that we knew at least halfway through the season. I don't feel like we knew that. And so, yeah, I was just impressed. And I was talking to Isaiah Joe after the game, and he told me that Pistons team reminds him of the Thunder. It reminds him of the way that they play, in that even when you have a bunch of guys sitting, they still have an identity that they go to, which was really cool just to hear from his perspective, because it was like, man, you look at both rosters and you're like, there's no way the Pistons should be in this game. I mean, I even told Omari before the game, I was like, man, it's kind of a bummer that all these guys are sitting. It just felt like we were heading toward a blowout, and it ended up being a game that went into overtime. So to me, it really speaks a lot more to where the Pistons are than where the Thunder were, just because sometimes whenever you look across and it's B-ball Paul starting at center, you're like, all right, whatever. We give this half the gas we need to, and we'll be fine. So, but yeah, I was impressed.
For the Thunder, they were they're 32-6 at home or something along the lines of that. 37-2 at home. I know that they have the best home record. Where did that performance rank for you, just of the games you've seen at home, as far as, wow, this team brought it to a degree that maybe I didn't expect? Because we've seen this Pistons team. They have off nights like every other team, but like you said, there's an identity that they've been able to sort of average back to, despite on who's been out.
Yeah, they are 32-6 at home this season, and what the Pistons did is that they kind of took everybody else away. They couldn't really do much with Shea, which the guy's probably going to win his second MVP. That's okay.
Save that thought for later.
Okay, all right, I'll save it. But you look at the second half, and you look at the scoring from everybody else in the second half. Cason Wallace, 0 points. Lou Dort, 0. Chet, 0. 4 points from AJ Mitchell. 3 points from Jalen Williams. 2 points from Jared McCain. 0 for Alex Caruso, who did hit a shot in overtime. That was a big time. Isaiah Joe had 6, and then Aaron Wiggins was really the only guy who had to go in the second half. He had 10. They just almost eliminated the rest of the roster just by being so solid defensively. They let Shea score a lot, but they didn't really let him crack the defense, because Shea's been a much, much better passer this season. That's been something that he's improved a ton, and he didn't get to showcase that against Detroit. They did a good job of staying home. They did a good job of sticking to guys, and they were extremely physical. And so we talked about this a little bit, Bryce, but JB deserves a ton of credit for the culture shifts and the culture turnaround that's happened in Detroit, because this was not a thing.
Save that thought also. Save that thought.
I'll also save that. That was not a thing. And now it really is. So yeah, hats off.
Real quick before we go to break here, Daryl Gulp, I think, Pistons New Zealand contingency tuning in. Love your work, fellas. What do you think of Ron's last foul? Did Shea take the biggest dive of all time? We don't have to answer that right here, but we will shout out our Pistons contingent in New Zealand. We appreciate you very much. I actually do want to just go ahead and dive into some of the awards conversation after we go to break here. I want to talk about MVP. We can lean into then the Cade 65 game rule, coach of the year, defensive player of the year, because both teams have names that are a part of those conversations. So we'll get into some MVP conversation right after this.
All right, we are back with segment 2. It wasn't the MVP battle that it was shaping up to be a few weeks prior, but we still saw an MVP caliber performance. I know people didn't like the free throws. I know he was 23 of 25 at the free throw line, but still 47 points. Just really took over down the stretch. You kind of hinted on it, Andrew, but he's the reigning MVP, and he's been even better this season than last season in some key areas. His numbers are video game numbers, essentially. Just what stood out about his improvement this season, and just how close is what we saw against the Pistons, what he's been this entire season.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that stuck out is he's learning how to make his teammates better. We did get to see that some. We got to see in a pretty pivotal moment down the stretch. I think it was about a minute left in the game. The Thunder are down 3. Shea has the ball. Herter's covering him. And he kind of had Herter. He could have gotten to his mid-range jumper pretty easily in that moment. But he threw the ball to Jay Will, who was in the left corner, who hadn't made a shot in the game, by the way, and trusted his teammate to take, and then he made the shot, which was a really pivotal 3. And he did the same thing in overtime with Alex Caruso, who hit a wing 3. And so, him making his teammates better has certainly been a part of his game, but I think it's becoming more and more part. And he's also learned to play better off ball. You see them use AJ Mitchell a lot on ball whenever he's playing next to Shea, and they're often trying to get him in better position. This is something that the Celtics did really well the year they won the title with Tatum and Brown, is before they won the title, it would just be a lot of like Tatum bringing the ball up and then like getting into his shot. But now it's like all about like getting guys off ball, trying to find them in a better position to get the shots that they want. And Shea is like learning how to do that. So I think like his passing, his ability to like find shots have all certainly improved. And then in the clutch, he's been ridiculous. I think he's made his last 11 shots in the clutch, which is just absurd because they're really, really tough shots. And so he's just really, really tough to guard. And if you are, hand in the cookie jar or something like that, like he's going to get you. And so I know that annoys people, but most of the great scorers had that skill. It's like pretty rare that like a great scorer doesn't have that skill.
My thing is, it's not Shea's fault the officials call it. It's Shea's job to put the ball in the basket and put points on the board. So especially in an MVP conversation, if you want to talk aesthetics, that's a different conversation. Aesthetics do not matter to me, when we're talking about MVP. Shea's job is to win games and put points on the board, and his job is to do it in whatever way he can find. And if officials are going to continue to call, I didn't think some of the fouls that were called were fouls, but ultimately his job is to put points on the board. I think the off-ball stuff is a good perspective for Pistons fans as well. Just when you talk about Cade Cunningham and his ultimate ceiling and potential growth for him offensively, maybe, continuing to add a little bit more of that. We've seen it at times this year. I have a 2-part question for you about Cade, though. Where do you stand on the 65 game rule? This obviously has become very heated for Pistons fans. And just taking that away completely in a vacuum, where do you think Cade would be for you in an MVP conversation if he were eligible?
Yeah, the 65 game rule, I don't think is awful. I think that there's like two sides to the coin. Like it sucks for Cade. And it would probably, if it wasn't Cade, it'd be somebody else that it would be like, it's really unfortunate they're not going to qualify. On the other hand, like it's doing what the league wanted it to do with guys like Jokic and Wemby. Like those guys are playing a lot right now. And it's because of the 65 game rule. If that did not exist, we wouldn't be seeing Wemby as much. We wouldn't be seeing Jokic as much. So it's really just about, it's almost like fan base dependent at this point, like what you think about it. So I don't hate the rule. I hate that it's going to penalize somebody. But I don't hate the rule because I do think it's also working in some capacity. It's just a bummer that this happened to Cade. I do think you could tweak it where you could say like, hey, if you don't meet the 65 game criteria, you can't make all NBA first team, but you can make second team or third team. I just think that
I've heard this as well. You can't win MVP or DPOY, but you can be available for all NBA or all defense teams.
Yeah, because I think the piece that it does take away is that you would hope by just like looking at the NBA awards and the all NBA teams that it's a snapshot of what happened. Like what happened in this NBA season. I can go back and look at these teams and it will tell me. Well, if Cade's eliminated from all of that, like it doesn't tell the story. It really doesn't. If Cade qualified, I'd probably have him third.
Okay, so Fly Monk 321 asks Andrew's top MVP candidates up to Cade. So I think you have Shea 1. Who's your number 2?
Shea, Victor Wembanyama, and then Cade.
Okay, I want to make you go further. What are the next 2 then?
And then I would go Luka, and then I would go Jokic.
Interesting. Okay, so I was still, Sam and I had this conversation the other day. I still had Shea 1, Wembanyama 2. I actually went Jokic 3, Doncic 4, with the caveat that we still have a couple weeks left in the regular season. And to me, it was kind of tiered out that way, where it was Shea versus Wembanyama, and I still pretty confidently have Shea. But that Luka Jokic conversation, I think, is going to be a little tougher for me.
Yeah, I think Cade just takes a lot less off the table than what Luka and Jokic have this season.
Well, that was me taking Cade out also for what it's worth.
With Cade out, yeah. I think that if I could flip flop Luka and Jokic pretty easily, like they're neck and neck. I think it's the real race is Shea, and Wemby, and then it's like those two. But yeah, I do feel for Cade because I do think that I don't know if it's unusual for me to have Cade third. I just thought that what he did with this team, with a completely new culture that like he's helping lead, is just so impressive. And to be on like one of the best defenses in the league, and for Cade to not be a horrible defensive player that has like one of the biggest offensive responsibilities in the league is really, really impressive. So, yeah, and had he played, like maybe they had a chance to have the best record in the NBA, and like there's just a lot there for Cade, and so like I do think that he's been maybe like the third best. Now some of the numbers don't say that, but I take into account a lot of different things, and the Pistons are probably going to win more than 57 games this season, and that's something that Jokic's team has never done in the regular season since he's been in the NBA, which is just kind of mind-blowing to me. But I do give Cade a ton of credit, and it was not easy to get to this point for the Pistons. Like this was a really tough road to get to and a lot to overcome. And for him to kind of stick it out and like continue to like build not only his game, but like his leadership through that is like pretty impressive, because like the coaching changes and the roster changes and all the losing that happened. And, especially everybody, there's so many people that are like, man, like, isn't tanking just going to like ruin a player? Like it's just going to just kill a player's development. I'm like, that is like the biggest load of crap ever. Because like, look at Cade, look at Shea. Like there are so many players that have overcome this, that's not really a thing. That's a narrative thing that people like to say because they don't like tanking. But like Cade is a really great example of just like, you can overcome this and you could rise to the top too, even if your team tanks for several years in a row.
We can extend this sort of beyond MVP. The Pistons, to your point, on pace for more than 57 wins. They're on pace to tie the third best record in franchise history at 59. They won that in 07-08, and that was the last team to win to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
Omari, do you know who was an all-star on the Pistons the year after that? Because I now know after missing this question in trivia.
Allen Iverson.
Andrew, tell your Allen Iverson story real quick.
I was at a hotel in Utah during All-Star Weekend a few years ago, and it was just Allen Iverson and me. And I'm like, I instantly like turn into like middle school Andrew, where I like wore his shoes when I was playing 7th grade basketball. And I'm just like, I just have to go ask him if I can take a picture with him. And I go up to say, hey, AI, would it be okay if I took a quick picture? And the disgust that was on this man's face when he looked up at me was it penetrated my soul. It was just it was brutal. And he just looked at me and he was like, nah. I was like, okay, Mr. Iverson, sir, goodbye.
Okay, sorry, O2. Go ahead and finish your question. My bad.
Yeah, no. Allen Iverson was the last Pistons All-Star for a while. Like I think until Andre Drummond got there in 15 or 16. Like he was the only Pistons All-Star for like almost a decade. So there's some Pistons lore for you. But beyond MVP, who else on this Pistons roster sticks out as award worthy? Asar should just pass the 65 game threshold and be in it. I mean, you've also got Jalen Duren, who we did not see on Monday, but I mean, he's really kept this team afloat. Without Cade, who else on this roster like stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Asar should be on people's all defense teams. He's been unbelievable as kind of like one of like the big glue pieces for the Pistons on that end. So I think like he should be there. Duren, like, it's so crazy to think Duren could be on third team All NBA. Like he's been incredible.
Fly Monk says, is he a top 5 center / All NBA? I will tell you guys real quick, Andrew. I watched the Raptors game today from last night. I was just like, this man this man, like, they can't guard him. It's unbelievable. So go ahead.
He's stronger than everybody.
And his handle is ridiculous, and he low rips, and he's made like 90% of his free throws over the last 10 games or something. Yeah. It's crazy.
His hands are great. I mean, he catches just about everything down there. I think in the last 18 or 19 games leading up to last night, he was averaging 23 and 11 on like 63% shooting, which is insane. And it's not just lobs and like standstill dunks. He's driving to past guys and bumping them out the way. He's finishing with both hands. He's putting his back to the basket. The straight jumper here and there. And like you said, Bryce, he's been shooting 90% at the line. And like there are nights where you have no choice but to foul him because he's essentially automatic once he gets to the rim. One way or another, he's going to find a way to pivot or rip right through you or do whatever it takes to get there. With that, does he have an all NBA case? This is by far the best team in the East. It's not infrequent that you see teams as good as the Pistons get to all NBA guys.
Yeah, and I do think Cade won't qualify, but maybe that like is the reason why you put him on the team. It's like we need a representative from the Pistons on the All NBA team, and he's been and not that he wouldn't get there otherwise. Like there's a case there, and the guy's 22. Like that's one of the things. Like what does a 27-year-old Jalen Duren look like? Like he's gotten so much more polished. I mean, he's already kind of exceeded what I thought he could ever be, especially defensively. I thought like the rebounding would always be there. I thought like some of the scoring and the touch around the basket would always be there. But the fact that he's a really good defensive player it's a huge deal. Like a lot of people want to ask the question, like who can be the second scorer for the Pistons? It's probably not Duren. Why is it not Duren? Like, why could they not be looking for the third guy for this team? I know that a lot of people don't love it being like a big man that isn't necessarily like a Jokic type of big. But I don't see why it couldn't be like the Cade Duren 1-2 punch plus like a really good perimeter shooter, So
he's essentially giving Zion efficiency. It's like if you're going to be that efficient on twos, it kind of bends the half back. Yeah. In favor, especially if you're going to shoot that well at the line. I mean, that kind of insulates you from what tends to bite bigs in the playoffs. I mean, if he's just going to rip through everybody in the paint and then shoot 90% at the line, you can't really do anything against that.
Yep.
Last one, and then we'll come back and do some trivia. Our Salih, I feel so bad whenever I do this, says, hey guys from Bosnia here. I'm pretty sure they took out the second part of this because I wasn't able to pronounce it last time. So they just left in Bosnia for me on this one, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. Last night we knocked out Italy out of the qualifying for World Cup in the US and Canada. This is soccer? Yes? Somebody help me out. Andrew, soccer? Omari, soccer? Are we talking
I'm
soccer?
not a soccer guy.
Nobody's helping.
Sorry, bro.
I'm not a soccer guy. This is outside of my expertise.
Okay. Anyway, congrats to Bosnia on their win in the World Cup, which I think is soccer. What do you think about their starting five for next year? Jenkins, Cade, Asar, Stu, Duren. I brought this up to see what did you think about Daniss Jenkins, Andrew? We joked whenever I was coming. So World Cup is in the USA this year. Soccer, yes, soccer. Is soccer? Yes, I'm from Spain. Confirmed. Perfect. Thank you, guys or girls. Appreciate it. We joked leading up to my appearance on Saturday Slam and Jam about Daniss Jenkins week. You've got a lot of Daniss Jenkins watching recently. What are your thoughts?
He's awesome. Like I love his energy. I don't know if he's a starter in the NBA or not, which is not a bad thing. But I think like he just may be better as like a change of pace guard off the bench for the Pistons ultimately. Because I think that you'd rather have a guy who's a little bit higher volume on his threes than what he's been. Although he has had some like games where he's like taken like 7 threes in a game. I just don't know how common that's going to be for him. So I think I would maybe rather him come off the bench for them, but like you have to have good players coming off the bench if you're going to be a contender. Like that's the kind of depth that you would want if you were a title contending team, is that he's coming off the bench, and he maybe would be a starter for other teams. We also have a pretty low sample of like what he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would caution people a little bit on that. Not that he's like some bad player or anything, but like I just want to see more of him whenever teams like get a really good scout on what he does. But yeah, I think you should be very encouraged as a Pistons fan from what he's been able to accomplish so far. And I think having a guy that has his kind of speed, burst, shot making, kind of do it all nature of his game, like that's a great kind of player to come off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. I think his skill set just in general maybe plays better into being that third guard. You bring him in to play with Cade for a couple minutes, then he takes over as point guard when Cade steps out. But to your point also, like him and Jalen Duren are probably the two guys that I'm most interested to see in a playoff setting, right? Like is Jalen Duren able to take what he's done in the regular season into the playoffs or even expand it offensively? And then same thing with Daniss Jenkins. Okay, we got to go to break. 0-2 when we come back. Send it back to me because I have trivia for the two of you and I'm excited to do it. So we will get into that right after this.
All right, we are back with segment 3. Sounds like Andrew is a really good trivia guy, so I'm going to give this back to you, Bryce, and I'm curious to see what trivia we have in store here, because I'm not going to sit here and brag about my trivia, but I think I can hold my own. So let's see.
That is false. I'm beating you, and I'm awful at trivia.
I'm pretty sure we tied.
We are not tied, and peek behind the
We don't have Wes here to decide.
Wes isn't actually here with us right now, so I can't
have to
ask
reveal
him.
that. So let's save.
He
that
will
for
tweet
next
it
week,
out.
He
will aggregate this on Twitter and let.
He doesn't need
know.
to tweet. Well, he could tweet it depending on the
exactly.
result.
Yeah, exactly. I
think
have to be nice to Omari.
Time.
I have to be nice to Omari though, because that's where I'm staying in a couple of weeks whenever I come out to Detroit. So I got to be nice. Oh no, you guys can answer. Yes, please. Be involved in the comments. Absolutely. Sometimes it's a little bit slower, the comments coming through, but 100%. These actually are fairly simple. Listen, Alex is the GOAT. I love that dude. He's amazing, but his trivia questions are just way better. I wasn't that creative. So this is going to be this guy or that guy, Pistons or Thunder. So Andrew, do you want the first one or do you want Omari to start?
I'll take the first one. Let's go.
Okay. Who has taken more 3-point attempts this season? Jalen Duren of the Detroit Pistons or Isaiah Hartenstein of the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I love this question.
Attempts.
Yeah, attempts. Hart just doesn't take very many. And since he's been on the Thunder, has not made one yet, which is very exciting for me because I love any kind of streak, good or bad. And this one is hilarious because he just cannot make a 3. I think he's taken 7 this season, if I remember correctly, because I pay way too close attention to it. God, I just can't imagine Jalen Duren even taking a 3. I'll say it's Hart, but I don't know. I'll say it's Hart.
It is Isaiah Hartenstein. He has taken 7. Okay. Jalen Duren has taken 0. So
0.
No 3-point attempt. So, all right, Richard, one quick thing in the chat. You can give your answer, but no official statistics in the chat, please. Give your answers, but no official numbers, please. So yeah, 0. I thought that was going to be closer. I was hoping maybe like one of them had made one and I could have a little more fun with it, but no go on any of that. So, all right, 1-0 Andrew. 0-2. Who has more total steals this season? Asar Thompson or Cason Wallace? Total steals.
It's Cason Wallace.
That confident?
Unless it changed in the last couple of games. It is.
Oh, you've
Cason
looked
Wallace
recently? Okay.
I checked. Okay, I did check like a week ago, but I'm pretty sure Cason Wallace hasn't missed any games, and it was it wasn't that far apart, but I'm pretty sure it's Casey Wallace. So
it is Casey Wallace. Casey Wallace has 144 steals, which I believe leads the NBA, and Asar Thompson has 135. So right there.
Yeah, I'm like, it's within 10. Like it's not inconceivable that Asar Thompson could have caught him in the last 3 games or so.
Fly Monk 321 asked about B-ball Paul. He is 12 of 36 from 3 this year, 33%. So, okay, it is 1-1. We're off to a good start here. I love it. Who has drawn more offensive fouls, Andrew? Like as a defender, drawn offensive fouls? Ron Holland or Jalen Williams?
Oh, wow. I'll say Holland.
Can I hear your rationale?
I don't have a great rationale.
Okay. I was just curious. I thought maybe you would go Jay Will just because he's such a charge taker. So I thought maybe this one would go well. It is Ron Holland. You are right. Ron Holland has drawn 30 offensive fouls from the opponent. Jay Will has only drawn 21.
Yeah, Jay Will has kind of gone away from that. He's like trying to turn himself into a real defender and not just like a gimmick. Because like his first year in the league, he was just like gimmick only. It's like, I just take charges. I used to say like, here's how you remember his name. Jay will take a charge. Like that's how.
Jay will take a charge.
Yeah. So some people thought it was Jay Will. Holland draws an illegal screen every other game. Like it's every other game he gets one. So
that's a really great skill to have. Like it really is. Lou Dort hunts those like crazy. And if you have a guy that is like a good defender and can like blow up a screen like that, it's very helpful.
Underrated aspect of growth for the Pistons this season is Ron Holland defensively. I will stand on that hill very aggressively that it's going to be, I think it's one of the things that's talked about the least because there's so many good things, which is great. He's become a very, very good point of attack defender. Okay. 2-1. Omari, listen to this one. Okay. The lower of the leading turnover percentage on each team. Okay. So these guys lead their teams in turnover percentage. You want to select the person that has the lower number. So they're the worst turnover percentage on each team, but you want to, between the two of them, you want to pick who has a lower turnover percentage. Okay. Karis LeVert leads the Pistons and Isaiah Hartenstein leads the Thunder. Which one of those players has a lower turnover percentage?
I'm going to go Hartenstein.
That is incorrect.
Wow. Okay.
Karis LeVert has a 16.3 turnover percentage. Isaiah Hartenstein's 20. Does that track, Andrew? This was fascinating to me. Does he really turn it over that much?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of their more daring passers.
Sure.
So I would say yes. Also, he turns it over on illegal screens a lot too.
That's true. Okay. Yep. Sure.
That makes sense.
For what it's worth, Bobby Klintman is actually ahead of Karis LeVert, but has only played 12 games. And Nikola Topic is the Thunder leader, but it's like 5 games. And I don't care because it's just good to have Nikola Topic on the basketball court. So I could care less what his turnover percentage is. Just glad to see him out there. All right, back to Andrew. It is 2-1 right now. Who has a higher corner 3-point percentage? Javonte Green or Isaiah Joe? And I will tell you this, they are both over 50% from the corners.
Okay. Oh, wow.
That's not really a help. I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that, but
they're both really good.
They're both really good.
50% is pretty good on corner threes. I guess I'll go Joe just because I think he's a better shooter than Javonte Green.
I thought I might get you on this one. It is Isaiah Joe. He's at 53.3%, but Javonte Green is at 51.7% on corner threes.
Wow.
Just a ridiculous number.
He's kind of a weapon, man. Like I don't know how good of a defender he is, but he's like a really high effort guy.
he fits what Detroit wants. Like he's disruptive. He plays aggressive off the ball. Like it works really well.
Yeah.
Okay. 3-1. We are halfway through in terms of 5 questions. I have 5 more. So Omari hasn't got his, but needs to keep pace here. Omari, who has a better post All-Star break offensive rating? The Pistons or the Thunder? Post All-Star break only offensive rating.
Oh boy.
I feel like it's got to be the Thunder.
Final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
It is the Pistons. The Pistons
Wow.
have a 117.8 offensive rating post All-Star break. The Thunder have a 115.1 post All-Star break.
You're giving me the hard ones. I feel like Andrew's getting the easier ones.
I literally started it with the like do you want to go first or not? Fly Monk 321. Just by name alone, Isaiah Joe should be a Piston. I agree. I will take Isaiah Joe off the Thunder's hand if they need a roster spot. They need a roster spot, sure enough. Okay, Andrew, we need a miss here, O2. Highest percentage of field goal attempts from 0 to 3 feet. Who has a higher percentage, not makes, of their field goal attempts? Jalen Duren or Isaiah Hartenstein? Who has a higher percentage of their overall field goal attempts come between 0 and 3 feet, according to Basketball Reference?
Gosh.
I mean, I gave you 2 answers.
Yeah. From 0 to 3 feet.
Who takes a higher percentage of their overall attempts? Jalen Duren or Isaiah Hartenstein?
I mean, I would guess it's Duren just because we do see so many of those floaters from Hart, but I don't know. I'll say Duren.
It is Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh.
This one was brutal. Jalen Duren takes 51%. Hartenstein takes 51.6%.
Oh, no. We're just splitting the hairs here.
Splitting hairs. This is the ultimate West thing. Oh, okay. All right. O2, got to get back into it here, my guy. You need this one, okay? Like, literally have to have it to stay in the game. Higher field goal percentage from 16 feet to the 3-point line. Cade Cunningham or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Because Cade has been really good from mid range. But Shai's also been really good from mid range. I feel like I keep picking the Thunder, which makes me feel bad, but I'm going to go Shai.
It is Shai. Yes, let's go. Please don't tie, though, guys. I have no plan. Cade Cunningham, 49.4% on these shot attempts. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 50.4%.
Wow.
On those
I figured it would be close, but
ridiculous
Shai's
numbers.
shooting well basically everywhere. So
yeah. All right, Andrew, you can win the game here. More deflections per game, the Detroit Pistons or the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Oh wow, this has got to be kind of close. I'll say it's the Pistons.
It is the Detroit Pistons. 20.9 to your point. The Thunder 20.7.
wow.
That could change over the weekend.
Yeah, just play one more game and then Omari's back in it. O2, the last one was restricted area team defense field goal percentage. Who do you think has a better restricted area team defense field goal percentage?
The Pistons. Pistons are pretty elite at rim protection. So
the Thunder,
I actually think they might be number 1 or number 2, but the Thunder are up there too, I know.
The Thunder are actually number 1, but this was another one. It's literally 61.1 to 61.8%. Like they are absolutely ridiculous.
I know they're like 1 and 2 in some order. And the Pistons 1 point. They have been surpassed, but it's been close.
Yep. Nah, it was I don't know. I thought that would be fun just to go through one. I thought it'd be cool just to hear some of the stats between guys and teams and how good they've been and how some of those numbers are. Obviously I cherry picked some of them as well, but thought that would be a good way to end today's show. Andrew, thank you for joining us. Always appreciate your insight, your perspective, especially since you had done, the Pistons week over on Saturday Slam and Jam. So anybody who hasn't listened to that, biasly, I feel like it was a pretty good episode.
It was great.
I got a few points in trivia, so I didn't completely embarrass myself over there. Always enjoy talking to you and Alex. Let people know where they can find you, all your work, everything that you have going on, because I know it's a lot.
Yeah, you can go if you want Thunder content, Down to Dunk. You can listen to us on YouTube or Apple, and then go listen to the Athletic NBA Daily, where we have a 20-ish minute show every single morning that kind of recaps the night of the NBA, or we have a guest on. We'll have Sam Amick come on tomorrow to kind of just talk about in general what's going on around the league. So would love for you guys to listen to that. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me, guys.
I have one quick question, Andrew. Is my question from Twitter today going to get on the episode?
It didn't make it. It wasn't.
It didn't make the mailbag?
It wasn't quick enough. No. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a great question, though. I'd love to hear Dave actually answer that question.
Well, just throw it in at the beginning somehow or something.
Okay.
I could feel your disappointment from across the
Did you see the question, O2? Did you see what I asked him? I said, which one of you guys would be most willing and able to come help me on the farm? Like, I thought it was just like, that was that was an A block question, right?
I agree.
Isn't that what you call it on TV shows? A block, B block, C block, something?
Yes. That's definitely an A block question. I thought
it was going to lead the podcast, but whatever. I mean,
the energy I'm getting from Andrew is that they both were like, who's more of a no? Like,
well, the great thing it was Andrew S, Dave, Zena, like it was all of them were on there. So we had multiple options here. So, all right. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you. Always enjoy talking hoops with you and just can talk to you in general. O2, take it away, my guy.
Yeah, big thanks for joining us, Andrew. And then, as always, big thanks to our audio producer, Robin Chan, our editor-in-chief, Dakota Avery Nichols, and big shout-out to West Davenport, as always. And we'll talk to you all next week.